Jim? What? Never mind. Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a while, isn't it?
Yeah. And look who we found off the scrap heap. What's up, Mike?
Yeah, I'm the leftovers here because I didn't get invited to the party earlier.
He's counting all these winnings from the Premier League.
Yeah,
all I'm saying, yeah.
Evident from what I read online, I'm too busted to pay up on certain things on the Premier League. From what I see online, news to me.
The guy is not the most reliable source that you could find online, so I don't think many people are listening.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to find his address, then I'm going to ship him $40 worth of pennies, and that's how I'm going to go and pay him off. So I now pay it'll probably cost me like $200 in shipping, right? But I'm going to pay the shipping for the weight of $200 of the $40 worth of pennies to ship to the guy, so he can say I'm in good standing with him.
You could actually.
Do you know how many pennies that is, Mike?
You could probably pay the postal delivery guy to put them through his letterbox one by one.
Oh, listen, if that's an option, trust me, I'm paying it. I'm checking off every box from what's available to go and just torture the guy. Yeah, for sure.
Have it be delivered in a sock to the side of the head.
Hello to everybody who's watching. If you haven't already been watching for the last hour or so, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm nice and fresh. I never got a word in edgewise the entire interview. Jim just never shut up, so I'm nice and fresh for this.
I'm not surprised. I'm not. I didn't get it. I only got to catch pieces of it. But what Neight is saying there, I'm not shocked. I'm just gonna put it like that.
Listen, if you've got no good questions, stay in the background. It's good.
We'll put you. Speaking of the background, we'll put you in the smaller one. You don't really belong in the big one.
See you, Jim.
So.
Oh.
At least I'm above Mike.
Yeah.
No. There you go. I'm holding him up now.
Yeah. So that's good. All right. Well, I guess I got a couple of announcements to get out of the way in the beginning. We had 3 people go vote for Rob Hovick. Awesome. We need more. We need to get Robert Hovick into. Yeah, I know. You listen up to right here. Robert Hovick, another person on the stream regularly. He is going to be up for the Wisconsin Billiards Hall of Fame. We need to go in there and vote for Robert Hovick. He needs to get in this year. So I need everybody to go to Wisconsin Billiards Hall of Fame.org, which is WIBHOF. I will put it in the comments right now in the chat.
Yeah, put it in there because I won't remember that.
You need to go there right now. WIBHOF.org. Go there right now. You have 1 week. Did I mention you should go there right now and vote for Rob Hovick? It's going to cost you $10 to sign up for 1 year. For that, you will get a free t-shirt. You just go and sign up, vote for Rob Hovick, and then send me a message with your address, your size, and your preferred color, and I will ship you a free t-shirt. Just go and vote for Rob Hovick. Did I mention to vote for Rob Hovick yet? So go there right now. We're not talking about anything important today anyway, so it's not like you need to be here for anything. Go do that. All right. Also, second announcement. You have 8 days to get signed up for the podcast's Patreon. And if you do that in the next 8 days, you will be entered into winning a free custom JB case. So please head over and do that. The link for that is right here. There you go. Those are my 2 announcements to get out of the way in the beginning. I guess I can talk about the interview we just did, but I think if you're here, you probably were already involved with that. You probably already saw it. So we just interviewed Emily Frazer. It was fun. Mike wasn't there, but
enjoyed it. I thought it was a good interview.
Yeah. Give me the highlights, boys. I didn't get to catch it. I'm going to watch it tonight, but I didn't get to catch it because I jumped off one call to hop on this call.
Well, I would say, I guess the biggest announcement that I heard off of it is that it's basically a trend. I mean, of course, we already know that Matchroom is constantly innovating, constantly adding, and constantly growing the stuff that they already have. But there was one thing I think that really, really struck home for me, and she said, when we have more than one event per month. She didn't say if. She said when we have more than one event per month. If you look at their docket of schedules, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 events. currently. That means that they are planning on having at least 5 more. I think that's pretty awesome.
You got to learn how to do math, my man. If there's 12 months in a year and there's eight so far.
Sure.
9,
10, 11. So now they're average. But you remember what I said. I didn't say 1 per month. I said more than 1 per month. If you have 12, that's 1 per month. Okay. So you need to learn how to listen. That requires 5 more.
True. Tina says the same thing.
So I will say that to me is, I mean, between Predator and Matchroom now, I mean, we're gonna end up having like the Saudi Golf League and the PBA or the PGA like fighting over players. It's gonna be like happening in pool too. Predator and Matchroom.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Matchroom stage is just, they get you exposure like no other. It really is. It really is. And I love what they're doing. I know it's tough right now, but I think that long term, these are really going to pay dividends for the superstars of the sport, and guys who want to be superstars of the sport. It gives them something to go and strive to. I know financially sometimes doesn't always make sense, but if you can see the bigger picture, I think this is really going to pay off down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping so. Jim, what was the big standout for you?
The big standout for me, the idea is to get, it's slightly worrying. I mean, it's not news really. I mean, other than Mosconi Cup, it's very difficult for Matchroom to be able to sell the tickets for the pool events, and knowing exactly how many they can sell and how many they get in. Mosconi Cup sells itself, that's obviously, but how many people do you allow into an event like the UK Open or to the PLP? What kind of security do they need to put on in order to handle the amount of people, and do they get the people coming in? And it's that for me, I think, is the biggest challenge or one of the big challenges that Matchroom is going to face, or it seems like they're facing at the moment, is to try and put a number on these events of how many chairs do we need, how many tables do we need, what kind of arenas do we need in order to get crowds in, how many tickets are we going to be able to sell, what kind of money are we bringing in from outside from ticket sales in order to invest straight back into the production or whatever of it.
The lack of fans for me stood out, and I don't know if it was deliberate or not, but like it just, I guess we get kind of spoiled with the Mosconi Cup environment, right? And just how, I don't want to say wild, but just how much of a buzz there is throughout the whole event, right? Even like in between racks or, during shots, whatever it may be, it's different. And I'm not trying to take away from that at all, but I know that having fans, and this is for any sport, I go back to watching, basketball last year and they didn't have any fans in the arena. It's just not the same. So I think having spectators there, I think it has to go hand in hand with sports. So that was something that stood out to me. I figured like at least towards the end, the last couple of days, they'd go and have more fans in there. But I didn't see it.
They just didn't know how they would. I mean, when this all got set up in the first place, you're still talking about COVID times when this was all getting put in place, and they're making the floor plan. They're organizing security for. So I think it just became too late at that stage to actually say, now we're going to open up to fans, because then they have the security issue, they have all that kind of thing, where they're going to put them. I mean, I've been to the Pool Masters, and other than really the semi-finals and the final, that final day, there really wasn't much of a crowd there either. And the fact that Al-Qaeda was in the final that year, and with it being Gibraltar, Spain just across the border there, obviously there was a load of Spanish in there as well, which kind of filled the arena. So even in the bigger individual events, it's not guaranteed that they're going to fill a 100 or 200 seater arena around one table. It's just very difficult for them to sell.
And certainly they're not going to be selling it for anything worth even having the seats there for.
No, it's going to be a minimum amount, and that I mean that's kind of why I mentioned too, and apparently the players were asked if they wanted to bring like 1 or 2, 3 people with them in their own crowd, that could, watch their matches. Obviously, that's a lot easier for UK players to do that. If players from further afield turn around and say, "Listen, do you want to come with me?" Yeah, exactly. That all costs money. And unless you're a real pool fan and you're used to traveling,
it's a lot of overhead. Even then, it's already hard enough to go and crack a nut, and then you want to go and tack on another, few $1,000s worth of extra plane tickets.
Yeah, so it's difficult for them. I don't know how they go about this. I think the UK Open. I think when you have these bigger events, when you have these 256 player events, Open events, then the crowd kind of takes care of itself, because a large amount of these players are, the UK Open, a large amount of the players that are in there are going to be fans of the game who are just taking a crack at it, and they're going to
not just that, Jim, but like the people who are going to be playing in it, the average players, they're going to have their own people wanting the cousins and the brothers and sisters, exactly. And say, I want to go. I want to go and see them play.
I'm going to be playing in the UK Open. Do you think I'm going to go home when I'm finished? No, I'm going to go home when the tournament's finished.
Yeah,
and I'm going to hang around.
Blocking off that amount of time to be there.
I'm going to hang around, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of the pool, and I'm going to be there for the fan experience, as well as hopefully playing more than like 2 matches. And I think the majority of the guys here, certainly the UK-based players, they're going to do the same as well. So the crowd kind of takes care of itself at a 256 Open event, same as it did in the US Open. It's these smaller invitational events. I think it becomes more difficult for Matchroom to actually create some sort of fan area, or because they just don't know. They just don't know who's going to come.
Yeah, world's evolving.
Yeah. And like Emily said, if they take into consideration fans, then they have to pay for a security team. They could pay for a security team and they only have 10 people standing there.
Well, especially if Telfer's in the building. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it there.
Wow.
I'm just going to leave it there.
At least we know, Jim. At least if they have a security team with Telfer there, they don't have to be very big or strong. They could just, be, there.
I don't know. That's man looks a little spicy.
Just keep feeding me beer and everything's all right.
Yeah, well, make sure nobody in front of you wants to fight. Because I remember at Moscone Cup, you about got your butt kicked there. You're trying to fight with everybody in front of you.
That's not true, Nate. That's not true.
In fact, Cookie had to leave because he was so scared.
Cookie was scared. Yeah. Cookie, actually, a little shout out to Paul. Cookie broke his leg.
Did he really?
In the storms. He walked out of his front door to go to his van, and the wind blew. And of course, because he's got such a massive, big ginger head, he's not very aerodynamic. So it blew him over. He lost his balance, and to try and correct his balance, he slipped on a piece of mud and twisted his knee, and he's busted up his knee completely. Broken leg. He's in a brace, and he's lying in hospital. So,
Oh, Jim.
And now I feel bad. Like, all right, I'll say this. Cookie almost beat up a security guard because the security guard told him to sit down when he was get ready to stop Jim from getting beat up from people in front of him. So,
no, yeah, the security guard actually
be nice to him now.
Please sit down.
You don't want that smoke, huh?
Please sit down. His massive big ginger head is not aerodynamic.
Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, so that's no good. So I guess let's jump into the Premier League pool. I'll say to Sarah, once you create an account and you sign up for the Wisconsin Billiards Hall of Fame, just head back to the home screen and click on the Vote 2022. You could also go to the homepage and scroll down a little bit, and it says something on the main screen like cast your ballot or something like that.
Vote for Rob.
Anyways, everybody go to Wisconsin Billiards Hall of Fame, wibhoff.com. wibhoff.org. Go vote for Rob for Hall of Fame. It'll cost you $10. You'll get a free T-shirt out of it. So,
and a big kiss from Rob.
Yeah, Rob will give you a nice kiss and a sweet dad joke the next podcast he's on. I promise.
Hey,
we need to get Rob inducted into that Hall of Fame.
Having a Hall of Famer on the show, eh?
Yeah. HOF, baby.
It means we don't have to be inviting Darren Appleton every time we want one.
Who? Who'd you say?
Yeah, the Appleberry.
Appleberry. Yeah.
I've heard of him. Some guy used to be good.
Some promising up and comer, huh?
Yeah.
If
Tell
we
you
want
what,
a Hall
he's
of Famer,
back.
if
He's
we want a
coming
Hall of
back.
Famer, we'll get Mika.
Oh, shots fired.
All right. Do you need to verify Wisconsin address? No, you do not actually have to be in Wisconsin at all to vote. So you could be anywhere in the world. So if you're in Zimbabwe, who cares? Go on there and vote for Rob Hovick. You'll get a free T-shirt. Yeah, go Rob. All right. So let's jump in to Premier League. I guess Albin wins for the second year in a row. Good for Albin. I mean, I asked this question to Emily, and I honestly feel like he stays in better shape than I feel like most of the players. I don't know too many players that stay in better shape than Albin, as far as like his running and his preparation, his working out. I mean, Tyler Steyer comes to mind as well on that, but Albin is just a different breed of player. I mean, you take a world quality player with a world quality, work ethic, and I think that, for me personally, I think that's what rises to the top by the end of this event is. His stamina is there, and he doesn't falter. Although I'll tell you what, there was a couple shots in the finals against Josh that went both ways. I mean, I saw a couple 7-balls miss both ways, and I'm like, what? But I mean, I assume that's got to be a lot of stamina.
Let's say what it is. He got a lot of rolls.
Yeah.
He didn't look as sharp in days like 5, 6, and 7. He didn't. And I think he would go and agree that his play wasn't up to that Albin Ouschan World Championship standard.
Well, when you have that good of a 1, 2, 3, and 4, you can.
The simple fact is he was not the best player in the tournament. But we've said it before about Albin. He wins.
But he started off great though.
He started off great. He did.
He started off great. Yeah. And then I was of the mindset that it's not how you start, it's how you finish. You know. So it was surprising. Oh, there he is. There's my man.
There's Stephen Fair. There, Stephen Fair. How the hell did you get on here?
He's a real peach. No, I'm of the mindset that it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I thought that he kind of struggled there, in the meat and potatoes of the event, but he was around to go and get in the Final Four was the biggest thing. And he's a world champion. He's been there before. Race to 5 or race to 7, it could really go either way. I thought there was, especially in that finals, I thought there was a lot of choices when Josh was up 4-0 and 4-1, 2 choices in particular that really made me scratch my head. One was that jump shot that he went for, and the second one was that push when you got that other ball just hanging in the pocket. And for the life of me, I didn't understand that. As soon as he pushes out, I'm like, what are you doing? That ball's like, it's in the hole. It's in, and that bank, he's going to go and hit that bank 99 times out of 100, So I stepped away for a minute when actually at 4-2, I text Dom and I said, Albin's going to win. After those 2 mistakes in back-to-back racks, I said, Albin's going to win at 4-2. And sure enough, when I came back a few minutes later, it was all tied up. But Albin knows how to come big when it's time to go and deliver. And that's one thing is that and I think Jimmy made a comment in the group chat where it's like Albin's record when he's in the final 16 of an event or something, or final 8 of an event.
His favorite. He's the guy that if he can see the winning line, if he feels like the winning line's is in reach, he'll get it more often than not. Shane mentioned it. They were doing the interviews before the final day. And Shane mentioned it. He said in his interview, I've put myself in a position where I can win this. I've put myself into a winning position. So now it's all about playing that last day and getting there. And you kind of have that feeling, that they've worked for 7 days to put themselves in the position to finish it off. And that's it's almost like you just sense that Albin is that guy that is going to finish it off. He's going to get it from there. He's put the work in. You can talk about days 5, 6, and 7 weren't his best days, but as soon as he's in that position where now you just have to go out there today and perform and win it, you can bank on Albin to do it. Really, it's amazing how often he does it. It's crazy.
I will say the difference between Albin and most players is the exact situation that happened in the semifinals. When you're watching Shane and Albin, and Shane is down 6-3 in a race to 7, and Shane was it 6-2, 6-2 or 6-3? I think it was 6-3. It might have been 6-2, and whatever it was. Shane gets it back 6-6, and Albin
all bets are off. I'll bet you all, because I had a buddy of mine. We were taking Shane, and I says, "Oh, that money's already burned." And then at 6-6, I was like, "We got a shot, we got a chance." Until I saw that break, and then it was over. But yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, and Albin did everything in his power to let Shane back into that. He had like a missed 6 ball. He had like a missed they had like a 4-hour safety game that Albin had, whatever. At the end of the day, like
shot he played to the 4 ball.
Yeah, where he hooked himself into 6.
He's got half a
No, he
tape.
froze himself. He froze himself.
Comes on, yeah. And
He's
that was at
frozen himself.
6-5. That was at 6-5.
It was, yeah.
Half a
close
table
him out.
space.
And he had the whole table to get into, to not go. I mean,
so
he had
much
the entire room to get into.
Okay, so we got to talk about this though. Like, I don't know the reason for this. I have to assume it's because they wanted to be able to maximize the amount of table time of great matches. I have to assume that is why they did. Well, the ref did not. Why am I blanking on his name right now? John Lehman did not start their Hill game because they wanted the other game to finish so that they could televise the both of them.
If you saw, if you saw,
they were both sitting in their chairs.
No, but the other table had just finished up, so they're doing their like commercials and stuff on the other one. But then they wanted to go and show that Hill match on the main one as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
They wanted to do a commercial break and then come back from the commercial break and show the Hill rack.
Yeah, there you go.
That is what I'm saying. Like, we got to talk about that because, like, at the end of the day, I mean, Albin took a break anyways, right? He took a bathroom break, and then you make him sit in this chair for another
and stew
4 minutes,
and just let him think about what he just did, because that was a massive mistake that he did there on the 4 ball.
Huge. And you're giving him the opportunity to sit there and collect him. Either he can stew and get worse and worse and worse, or he can sit there and collect himself and be able to, break the balls well and run out. And that turns out, with a proven champion, like, of course, this is where I started with all this, a proven champion like Albin, who, somehow finds a way to win, even if he's not playing his best game. And he did not play his best game against Shane or against Josh, still finds a way to grind it out. I mean, you give a player like that 4 extra minutes to collect himself. Do you guys? I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he still wins that?
I think it's an advantage for Shane, because I think it gives him time to go and think about the mistake he just made. I mean, you can argue either side of it, right, Jim? I mean, you really can't. You can go and say it's time to go and refresh, or you can just go and be like, "What the hell did I just do?" Because I just had a big.
Put it this way: how many times have you played a match and your opponent has made a massive mistake, and the first thing you've done is taken a timeout yourself to let them sit and stew in it? So it works both ways. Sometimes you take a timeout in order to collect your own thoughts. Sometimes you take a timeout to ensure that your opponent has to sit.
He was just meditating, man. That was pretty, like, he takes the game to the whole next level, man. Like, he's just sitting there in the chair with his eyes closed and just.
I think if he runs it back, even when he gets back from the bathroom and he just runs it back right away and breaks the balls, I mean, he's stewing. But I think that extra 4 minutes where he just sat there, and I mean, he looked like he was miserable, but he was probably meditating. Whatever he's doing, like that extra, he goes from being the stewing phase where he's like kind of just beating himself up to the point where he can actually like sit down, calm himself down, have a conversation with himself and say, hey, that 4 ball's done. There's nothing we can do about that now. We have the break. We have the control. I don't know that I don't know that he gets to that point if they don't make them wait through that commercial.
You don't know. You
don't like the alternate break though.
I love it. I love it. In a race to 5, you have to. In that format, race to 5, you have to.
Yes,
you think so?
Alternate break all day.
I would have loved to see.
You have to.
I mean, like, I would love. It's tough because you kind of get let off the hook there. Like, that 4 ball is massive if it's win or break, or like if someone's down like a 6-2, like Shane was, right? You got like a chance to go and put something together. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
Go ahead. You win the lag. The lag is an important shot as well.
I think
win
so.
the lag. You're getting that break.
It reminds me of serving tennis though, Jim. It's so hard to break an opponent's serve. So I mean, from that standpoint, I get it because I'm a huge tennis fan.
Especially with 9 ball. If it's racked properly and the wing ball is set, or if you're always making balls on the break, break my serve.
I don't know what the stats were, but that I mean, they were getting balls down pretty consistently.
Exactly, and Shane was breaking like a beast. To break.
Yeah, but Shane's breaking them, and then the ball's heading like on the left every time. But like the way he's spinning him.
he's not playing for position on the one. He's just playing to make as many balls as he can and try and get them. If you look at some of them, Phila was playing for position on the one.
He was kind of breaking towards the end,
the one round the corner. Jason didn't really make 5 balls. Jason couldn't figure the breakout all week. I was messaging him. He just couldn't. He was struggling with it. He was watching wing balls fly in against him all the time, and he was struggling to make wing balls for some reason. I like it. Break my serve. And if you've got a massive serve, if you're the Ivanisevic of pool, and you've got a monster serve like Shane Van Boning has, then it's to your advantage. Then it's tougher. If you win the lag, you're favourite straight away for that match.
I guess it's like we've seen it in football, right? Where like they changed overtime rules because in American football before it was like overtime is you flip the coin and they can go down and score a field goal and that's the end of it. And and it's over. But then the other guy never gets a shot. Now it's if it's a defensive touchdown or if that team who wins the flip goes and scores a touchdown, that's the only chance. But if you just score a field goal, that other guy's got a shot. He can come back and at least get a shot to go and win it. And I guess that's what I was. And I don't think it's the American in me, because I've never been much of a homer. But it was like, damn, man, Shane comes all the way back and Albin makes a really big mistake, and then it just falls back onto the winner of the lag.
You can look at it the other way around. Should Shane have let himself get so far behind?
No, for sure. No, 1,000%.
Albin's done well to get 6-3 ahead.
Yeah.
Well,
no doubt.
I'll say this. When you're talking the alternate, if you're talking winner break format, like how many people on 4-inch pockets are going to break and run a 5? Not very many. We get that. But
how many of those guys will though? How many of those guys?
Well, hold on. Because a lot of them will break and run a 3. A lot of them can break and run a 4, and there will be some break and runs of 5. If you run this tournament, there will probably be 3, maybe 4 by the end of it, where somebody breaks and runs a 5 to start, especially with how good some of those players were breaking. So the idea is, look at it from a matchroom perspective. Matchroom doesn't want 5-0s. They don't want 5-1s. They want back and forth, nip and tuck, 1-1, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3, 4-4, the hill. They want that. So you can't do the winner break because it's just going to create too many big swings, right? And sure, maybe Albin starts a set where he breaks and runs 3, and then Shane breaks and runs 2. And then Albin breaks and runs 1, and then Shane breaks and runs 3 from there. I mean, that's exciting, but it doesn't have the innings at the table that Matchroom really wants to have exciting and grow the sport. I mean, at the end of the day, it's got to be 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, 4-4, 5, something, right? I mean, it's got to be the back and forth to really create that excitement.
There was a lot of close matches. There really was, and a lot of matches, and a lot of hill matches.
And this way, you're guaranteeing that everybody gets a chance. You don't want a situation where somebody walks up, wins the lag, and then just runs a 5-pack. Then you've got guys.
But there was a set. I think it was the Al-Qaeda and Kachi where they literally the lag determined it because they went back and forth, break and run, and which is pretty incredible. And there was also a match between Shane and Albin where I think it went the same way through 3. Until Shane kind of got a little bad kick after the break, but. I understand what you guys are saying. I mean, like it made for some exciting pool. We saw 2 comebacks in both semifinals. Oh no, I'm sorry, because Jason didn't come back. So we saw Shane come back in the semi, and then we saw Albin come back in the final. So it's like you're never really going to be buried in this format. It's just every shot is pretty weighted because every shot is pretty important. You go and make one mistake on your break, really, it's costing you 2. Because you're almost going to guarantee that other guy's going to go and break and run on the very next set, I mean, the next wreck, I mean.
I really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the idea that everybody played against each other. There's no easy draws and no tough draws to get there in the end. They've all played the same. They've all played against the same players. And, these races to 5, it keeps you interested as a spectator as well because it's a quick swap over. And then there's a new game on that could be finished within the next 20, 25 minutes, If you decide there's a game you don't want to see, you don't have to wait long.
There's 2 options, right? So you're going to find something pretty good.
Exactly. So you've got one table where there's maybe a dead match for you that you're not so interested in, but you've got the other table and that table that you've just left is going to have a good match in about half an hour that you really want to see, and then you go, I was never bored. I watched every single ball other than being interrupted for a few hours while I was working during the 8 days.
I will say this. I just counted up. There was 51 hill matches in that tournament. 51.
That's a lot, man.
Not bad, eh?
That's crazy.
I see it. That's great, isn't it?
I just think if you ran that back as a winter break,
Could be
I don't think
completely
you get
different.
above 30.
Oh,
I don't think,
yeah, no.
I don't think you get above 30. I don't think you get above 30. I don't think you might not get above 20. I mean, I'm making something up at this point, but
I guess it's like, I don't know, man. I mean, it's tough because the guy comes all the way back. Make it I don't know. I don't want to be those guys to like suggest another rule change to the game, but like in tennis, right? If everybody holds serve, then they got to win by 2. So you got to win 7-5 or 6-4, or if not, it goes to the tie break.
Well, you got tie break, yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's what I mean. So
take a guess, guys. How many 5-0s do you think there was?
There was only about
52 hills.
There was only about 4 or 5, I think.
There was 13 by the end of it. By the end of the event, there was 13. Yeah, but 13 is 52 hill matches and 13 5-0s. So
see, for me, that shows that the format works as far as keeping it exciting.
It does, and there was a lot of matches where it really did go and swing the other way. When the guy's up, let's say 3-1, and the other guy comes back and wins. I saw a few like that.
Yeah, I think the biggest comeback was from 4-1. I think. I don't think anyone came back from 4-0.
I mean, yeah, I didn't pay that close attention.
All in all, I mean, congratulations to Albin, but I think Jason said it best. It's a race to 5. Anything can go and happen. I mean, he does come clutch whenever to go and be on the biggest of stages. You cannot go and argue that, because it doesn't matter. When it's time, there's a few go and deliver. Jason's one of them. Josh is one of them. Shane, he's been hit or miss on the matchroom stage at times. But Albin, I mean, pick an event. Pick an event, and he usually does pretty great at it. And
as long as it's 9-ball.
Yeah. And I mean, he was probably one of the betting favorites going into it, but how hard is it to go and repeat in sport? Like, it's so brutal, and especially in pool where it's really wide open and you got to have a lot of things going your way in order to go and win it, but I don't know. I think Josh gave that set away because it was his for the taking. 1,000%. I think if he, like
you said, you're 4-0 up. You've been playing great, and it is alternative.
Tighten up, Jim. You squeeze him a little bit. You don't got to go and be a hero, because it can go and sway. Rapidly.
Especially not against somebody like Albin, because he will take those opportunities. And to be honest, he almost gave it back trying to spin that 5-ball in when he should have just come the other side of the 6. He tried to hold to the 6 in the center, and he tried to spin it in. I know I've missed the shot so many times myself. You try and play it on the right-hand side, the right knuckle. You play it with low right-hand effect to try and push it a little bit further and hold for the 6. And he's missed it. It was, and then Filler gives it straight back to him by missing the 7.
Yeah.
And
I love the 4-inch pockets, though, boys. I don't know about you guys, but I love those 4-inch pockets, man. Because I saw balls be missed where I was like, holy. Albin missed the ball. I think it was against what was it, Jason, right? Where Albin missed a couple in that, as you're looking at the TV screen, the bottom right, and it just jaws up, man. Where I'm thinking like it's 1, 2, and 3, you're done.
They all miss balls. That's what you want to see. Everybody miss balls, And these 4-inch pockets, said it before, 4-inch pockets with a new cloth and new balls, perfect. Great. You can still slide them in, but you've still got to hit them clean, but you can still use a little bit of the rail. There's certain shots that are not playable anymore. If you hit that bottom rail first, it's not going to fall, but you can hit the side rail first, which I think is great, because in general, you're going to have a shorter shot playing along the long rail than the short rail than the long rail. Should be slightly easier along that rail. So, yeah, I like it. I think they look scary. They look scarier than they really are. I think the pockets when you're down on the ball, but that's good as well. It's a mental battle. That's all part of it as well. If you're looking down your cue and you're seeing this tiny little hole at the end of the shot, kind of thing. Yeah. For these guys,
in the beginning, I said this on the podcast last week. I had problems getting into the format of this tournament, and for the first 4 days of it, I actually kind of did. But by day 4, I'm like, all right, let's give this a proper watching. And then I just picked a perfect time, of course, because the day 4 things, like once day 4 hits, like the first 3 days for me, they're just a little bit slow. Because I mean, sure, every match kind
It
of
counts,
means something.
but it doesn't count because they kind of, they got a lot of room for error, and
you
you're
get
not going to move a whole lot.
15 matches. You get 15 matches of pool in 4 days. I mean, the first 2 days really mean almost nothing. I mean, you saw that from Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. I mean, he started out like super
unless you're
low.
Max
and
Lechner or Kachi, it meant something for them those
well,
first 2 days.
Well, neither one of them found a way to battle out of it. Francisco did, right? So, the idea is,
the rules of the event as well.
Well, it helps when you know when to start your matches too, right?
Well, Kachi didn't only sleep in, but he was under the impression that after the 16 went to 10, that they all started at 0 again. He didn't realize that the points went forward to the stage 2 and stage 3. So he thought, I only need to finish at number 10, and then we all go back to 0 again. So he was just letting matches slip away from him, thinking, I'm going to get top 10 anyway.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, he didn't even realize that the points carried over.
Well, I mean, if there's a player that seems to be showing a very, very clear trend towards laziness, it seems to be Eklund, right? I mean, he misses out on events because he doesn't get his visa squared away. He sleeps in his events. He doesn't show up knowing the rules. I mean,
he has
a clear trend. He's got a clear trend.
He's 23 years old. He's done everything he's ever wanted to do, kind of thing. He just does what he likes.
I think he's only 20. I think he's only 22, 21 or 22, isn't he?
Yeah, but either way, he's still 22? A kid for all intents and purposes. You got a lot of growing up to do.
He's a professional now, not just somebody who's just really, really good at pool.
Right. Yeah.
And he either needs to get a professional manager that can handle his career for him, or he needs to find a way to.
That's what it seems like. Yeah. No doubt. I mean, you can't. I said this whenever me and Pinoza were talking like midweek about Premier League, and it was like there's so many guys who want to be in that spot, right? And you're not untouchable. So if you're taking it for granted, and there's someone who's going to go and fill in for you, but. We've all made mistakes and done things we wish we wouldn't have done differently, and hopefully he learns from them. But to Nate's point, it seems to be like a trend in different events when it's the same type of issues that go and come up. So at a certain point, then that's just your reputation and how you are. So, but time will tell, and he'll have more opportunities on that stage. So we'll see.
And of course. Make a million individual mistakes if you want, but don't make the same mistake a million times. Basically, loads of mistakes you made, just don't keep repeating them.
At the end of the day, there's something charming to the idea of being lackadaisical and not really just kind of floating through life. And there's something charming about that. But when you're missing out on big opportunities because you're not doing the things that you need to do to basically be the bare minimum of a professional pool player.
Race the 5, you get docked the game. I mean, that's 20%. You're already down in that match. That's
you ask any pool player in that tournament if they want to gamble with Eklund getting 20% of the set. And we'll see how many take it. Right. But the idea is I guess it just seems weird that he can't find somebody in his corner that helps to manage his career if he can't do it on his own, because he missed out on the U.S. Open last year. He missed out on the Whirlpool Masters, and was it the Whirlpool Masters? He missed out on 2 visas basically, where he couldn't get into the country. I mean, it's just you're missing out on thousands and thousands of dollars at this point. And maybe he's made enough that he's okay with where he's at, but it just seems like at age 22 you wouldn't want to be giving away the best years of your career to.
But do you honestly, knowing Kachi the way we do you honestly believe he's ever going to admit that he needs any sort of help from anybody for anything? Don't think he's that kind of guy,
No.
Well, I think he's going to be
force the hand one way or the other, because I mean you're not going to keep on it's disrespectful to the event. It just really is, because there's a bunch of guys who would have been there 30 minutes earlier.
Tommy Fedor wouldn't have been there 2 hours early.
It's just it's not acceptable, and I'm glad they went and docked them. But there's been a history of stuff before,
Listen,
so that's
the part. All these little things. They sort of congregate in this sort of ball, of negativity. And when you're a Mosconi Cup captain and you're picking 2 wild cards, eventually that ball becomes to a certain stage where you think, I don't need to be dealing with this.
And I will say this: I spoke to some captain sometime somewhere who was regretting his pick. Let's just put it that way.
Well, that's very cryptic, Nate. We'll never figure out who you're talking about.
Yeah, right. I'm just saying, like, yeah, right. So
you don't need to be Sherlock Holmes to figure that out.
Well, but I said this before. There's certain guys where it's like your play is gonna go and it's gonna fade all the BS, because if you play so great, you can get away with it, right? And you do all the other things right, but he's not there, And one 10-ball world championship isn't gonna go and get you there,
Well, I was gonna say he doesn't seem to have the ability to be like kind of lazy like this and still win in 9-ball events. He's able to do it in 10-ball events, but he does not seem to have his game there for lazy 9-ball and still be able to win at a high level.
You can turn around and say your play can fade all the bullshit. Yes, it can. But if you have to be one of 5, and there are clearly 5 who have the same play without the bullshit, then you've got no chance. So as good as he is, he's not that good that this kind of shit can happen and he still gets away with it,
Yeah. So I thought Mike was mad at us for saying that he wasn't one of the 5, so he left.
I was over that conversation. No, I'm kidding.
So I guess we still
rang the doorbell.
We still haven't talked about. I think everybody would agree that the best player in this tournament from start to finish was still Joshua Filler. We still haven't even hardly mentioned his name. Yeah. He ended up winning 58% of his games. That was the highest. The next closest was Albin at 55%. Shane had 54%. A bunch of 53s. Joshua Filler kind of statistically, he comfortably passed everybody. I would say if you're 3 percentage points higher from the pack, I think Joshua Filler played the best.
He was the best player in the tournament, except for the one moment that it really mattered.
And that 7-ball into the top left corner, that that's the shot that like Joshua Filler makes all the time, and you just kind of sit back and like, as somebody who watches a ton of pool, like I watch Joshua Filler take that shot, and I see the same thing out of Sky Woodward. Sky Woodward plays almost the same exact style as Josh. It's like, why would you take that shot and go 3 rails when you could just? Oh, that's right, because you're Joshua Filler or Sky Woodward, like because you're different, right? And it's like the 1 out of every 300 times that he does it and he misses it, you're like, well, duh, you weren't supposed to play that shot, right? Yeah. Except for that's like the only time he misses it ever. So it's like, but the one time, it's like you can point to that and say like, you got to play that shot, a different way. But, that's his game, and that's why he's so good, and that's why he's so phenomenal to watch play pool. But that was the difference in that match, I believe, because that would have made it, I believe, 6-6 with him breaking, and 5-5 with him breaking, and the match is different at that point.
Massive, yeah, completely different.
It's like Mike said before, that 7-ball should never really been an issue. If at 4-0 and 4-1, he had just taken his foot off the gas a little bit and played smart pool, and sort of made Albin earn his opportunities rather than giving him his opportunities, then it'd be a totally different match. Because the pool gods, don't forget, if you get a bit lax with what you're and don't play the game the way it really you should be playing it, and start taking liberties with the game, it has a tendency to bite you back. And everybody's had it.
Well, it did bite him in the butt, Jim. Literally, because he went and lost some money as a result of it.
If you think you've won, and if you think you don't have to work for it anymore, and you think you've won, you'll get beat.
Well, but I don't want them to change their style, because I love their style. Sky Woodward is great to go and watch on television. Josh Filler Poole is exciting to go and watch on television. I love Filler, but his style can be a little boring sometimes. The way he goes and you get so perfect every time.
Honestly, I think the match of that tournament was Sky versus Josh when Sky was already eliminated from the tournament. Yeah. He knew he was eliminated.
He jumps the 7-ball.
Jumps that 7-ball?
Like it was nothing too. Like it was nothing too. Yeah. No, but to me, it was like the bigger picture. There's 2 Americans who can go and compete with any 2 Europeans. Sky seems to handle the top Europeans a little better. In my mind, but Jason's greatness continued, Josh's greatness continued, Albin's greatness continued. I mean, Albin won the event, but it's like the top 4 betting favorites were those 4 guys, and they made it to the end of a brutal kind of format where it really is dead gambling with a lot of these other remaining, 12 guys there. So they're all playing great 9-ball pool, and they're going to continue to for the rest of 22.
And that's it. You say they're playing great 9-ball pool. They're just playing great pool at the moment. Jason and Josh have been doing it on other events as well. Albin didn't have the best Derby City, but 9-ball seems to be his thing. And it's becoming very apparent to me that it doesn't really matter what game and what format.
They can get one pocket play all day long, buddy.
Sorry?
I said they can get played in some one pocket, Jim. It matters what game. The game matters.
Well,
and I don't think Albin would want any part of that 10-ball game from Shane. And I'm not taking anything away from Albin, but I don't think any of those Europeans want that.
So what I'm saying is those four players before the tournament started, those 4 players were for me the standout 4.
For sure.
And it could have been 10-ball. It could have been 10-ball. It could have been 9-ball. It could have been any break rules, any size of pockets. One of those 4 was going to win the event, regardless of the game.
Oh, well, next time you just tell me I can have the field, and I would have gladly taken the other 12, without a doubt. I would have taken the other 12.
For me, it's becoming apparent the best player, regardless of the game, is going to win. Fedor at the Derby City, he's gone in there against all these one pocket beasts and he's taking them apart.
Relax. It was a race to 3. I mean, Fedor did great, but it's races to 3.
A race is what it is. It's a race is what it is. You can turn around and say, "Oh yeah, but if they played a race to 20, then you get beat."
I forgot. Jim's Nostradamus over here. He says I've called it from the very beginning of the event. Yeah, you pick the 4. You pick the 4 best players to go and win the event.
Listen, if somebody says, "Who do you think is going to win it?" You give them the name you think is going to win it, not the name you think. Well, if I'm right, I'm going to look like a genius. So I'll pick one.
Yeah, but I mean, like those guys are obvious. They're chalk. They're Vogue. They're right now. They're winning everything.
Well, the best players in the world at the moment.
Yeah, but you don't think that could have swung the other way, Jim? Like, do you really think they were that much above everybody else? Because it was pretty close leading into the last day.
Yeah, we always say it could have gone different, but for some reason it never does.
Yeah.
Yes, it could have gone differently, but it never does.
What do you mean? Max just won a international not too long ago. And he was at the bottom of that pack. Ruiz just came off of Derby City, and he just came off of 2 Euro Tour wins. Like, it could have gone the other way. And I'm not saying, I mean, it's race to 5 9-ball where it's alternating break. It could, don't get me wrong, they did their job and they were there in the final 4. I'm not saying they weren't, but to go and say like they're just gonna go and win everything. Listen, you can have those 4 guys, and I'll take the field from here on out, and let's see who wins more money at the end of the year. Because I will gladly go and do that with you. If you think you're stealing with those 4 guys, I'll take the field. Give me I'll do it in the Masters, I'll do it in the UK Open, the US Open, any big major 9-ball event. Well, Paul Cook's right about tennis because the 3 best players
tennis
end
is
up winning it.
Yeah,
but no, I mean you got Novak, Federer, and Nadal for the last.
Well, on top of that, we're talking
10
we're also talking races to 5, where tennis is best 3 out of 5 sets.
We always talk about this is it, and I'm going to
but you're playing back and forth in tennis, though. You don't get that luxury in pool. You break and have a wide open table. Your opponent doesn't have a chance to go and put you in a tough spot.
They're different games,
unless you give them, unless you go and give them an opportunity.
Different games. They're different games.
If this tournament was every match was a race to 100, who wins the tournament?
Well, that's different.
Well, I'd probably
you're saying it's a race to 5. Okay, every match is a race to 100. Who wins the tournament? Anyone outside those 4?
Well, no,
if it's 10-ball, who wins the tournament? Anyone outside those 4?
You don't think Kachi's got a good shot at 10-ball with
those guys? Not playing the way he played, no. With the attitude he had, no.
But Jim, at the end of the day, like this format is weird, right? Because at the end of the day, like you're playing a bunch of races to 5, and what we found out was honestly after day 1,
it was close.
I thought day 1.
I know, but it's still the same guys, even though it was close. You can say it every time it's close, but it's still the same results.
Go ahead.
Let me know when you're done, and I'll try. Just go ahead, Jim. You finish and let me know when you're done.
Go.
You done? Okay.
Yep.
after the first day, I honestly thought the best player that might have been in that field was Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, but he dug himself such a hole after day one that you can't dig yourself out of it and get yourself into the last days, because those initial matches are just. Are we going to say that Francisco Sanchez Ruiz is like not a player that could win this event? You're crazy if you think that. He's won the last 2 Euro Tours. He's won the International Open. I mean, he's won
with
the
a lot of
Derby
those
City.
same guys in there. Preach it.
With
Hey,
the same guys.
Say it louder. Say it louder.
You can't tell me. You cannot tell me that if Francisco Sanchez Ruiz doesn't have the start that he had, that he does not have a chance of winning that just as good of a shot probably as Jason. I think he's got a better shot than Shane. And Josh and Albin, I'll give you. But I think that Francisco Sanchez Ruiz is probably the third best player in that field right now.
Nonsense.
When was the last?
You don't think so?
Who are you putting ahead of him besides Joshua and Albin?
One thing you're forgetting. It's not a Euro Tour. It's a matchroom event on 4-inch pockets on a slippy table.
Okay, you got a point there. You got a point there for sure. You got a point there.
With no public. Something that Albin, Jason, Filler, Shane have done on numerous occasions. Sanchez has done maybe twice at a Masters and a World Cup pool. Okay,
perfect. So who are you taking ahead of him?
Let's talk about the environment they're in as well. Sanchez, there's a reason he finished where he did.
He's got a good point, Nate.
There's a reason.
As much as I hate to admit it, Jim's got a good point.
Well, perhaps because he needed to adjust, perhaps because he wasn't ready for it, because he wasn't used to it. He wasn't used to the conditions, the table. It took him a while. The rest of them, it didn't take them that time. There's a reason he finished where he finished. And there's a reason why it's the same guys that finish at the top.
Sure. Who are you clearly taking over Sanchez Ruiz? Clearly. Besides Albin and Josh. Who are you clearly taking over Sanchez Ruiz right now? In this field, who are you?
What do you mean?
Who are you saying is definitively better than Sanchez Ruiz in this field? You're saying that Sanchez Ruiz has zero chance of winning it, right? So he has zero chance. So who are you taking over him, no matter what?
On that table, in those conditions, in a matchroom environment,
Sure.
I take Al Qaeda above him. I take Jason above him. I take Filler, Albin.
I said besides Filler and Albin.
Oh, in that field, I'd say he probably places maybe about 7th or 8th, probably.
Jim, listen, Jim makes a good point, because the conditions going matter. There's nothing like being on that matchroom stage compared to any other tournament on earth.
Now let me get to my point, which is I agree with you. I think that is a very good point. Sanchez Ruiz, that's probably the reason why he struggled the first day. When he gets used to that conditions, who in that field was better than him on day 2 and day 3?
He put himself in a position to qualify for stage 3, and then he blew it on day 5 and 6. So he had a bad start and a bad finish. You can't afford to do that in this format.
I just
Captain Obvious over here. Way to go out on a limb there, Jimmy. He couldn't go and end bad and win. What a shocking news flash that is.
You're saying he dug a hole for himself at the start. He got out of the hole and then put himself back in it again.
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Any player will go and tell you a lot of things got to go and come together for you to go and win an event, and it did for Albin, because he played great and he got a lot of good rolls.
Exactly. Now, if you look at Sanchez Ruiz, look at his on stage 2, the 9 matches he's played. What was his record in the 9 matches he played? If he won 3, he did well, I think. He didn't perform well in stage 2.
I mean,
I'm just saying, like, Jim, I think that I think Mike said it perfectly. You can have those 4 players. We'll take the field and let's bet it up.
Do it.
If it's those 16 players in every single event, I'll take it.
Well, they're going to be there at the Masters. At least majority of them are going to be there at the Masters.
Yeah,
they'll be there at the UK. They'll be there at the UK Open.
Biado, I guess. The cause.
And we get those Chinese players.
Hold on a minute. No, time out though. Those are the players don't matter though. When you got the 4 best, you're saying you got the clear 4 best. I'll take Biado. I'll take Federer. I will take everybody else. No, wait a minute, because you're saying I got the 4 best, the very 4 best, and I'm stealing with those 4 best. So I'm saying you got it. You're absolutely right. You got it, and I will take the field whenever they go and get there in Gibraltar in a couple of months. and we can bet it up.
In the PLP, those players, that was clearly the 4 best players before the start of the event. In my opinion,
they were betting favorites, and they for sure.
Well, there you go.
For sure.
And it's no coincidence that the 4 of them ended up being the final 4, and they continually do it. These players. Now, I'm not saying it's always the same 4, but those 4 guys, a combination of them always seems to be at the end of the events. Either a Jason is there, either a Filler, or an Albin, or a Shane, or a Fedor. These are the guys that end up always.
Don't take Fedor now. No, wait a minute. You ain't don't even say his name, Jim. Don't even say his name. You're not allowed to say the name Fedor on this.
Stephen Fears on the phone.
Forward. As far as Fedor's concerned, he is not on the table for Jim Telfer. Okay, he's on this side of the screen over here with us. Okay,
yeah.
I'm saying I will take Fedor. I will take the rest of those quote unquote chumps according to Jim Telfer.
We're gonna split this down the middle. We have the right, we have the correct side on the right, and the Jim on the left.
No, I mean, listen, all those guys, they were chalk in the beginning. Albin was the betting favorite. It takes a lot to go and get there at the end. I'm not taking nothing away from Albin because what he did was nothing short of phenomenal. You know, to go and have the year you did, it's so easy to go and fall short and to go and say, you know what, I'm exhaling. I can breathe now. I pretty much accomplished everything you can go and accomplish in pool in 1 year. And you go back and essentially defend your title in a tough field, because I do think it was gambling, unlike Jim. I think it was very tough, and it could have swung either way with anyone. I wouldn't have been surprised if Kazakis goes and wins it. The way Sky was playing at the end, I wouldn't have been surprised if he goes and gets there.
I was rooting for Sky to make last 4.
Like, I would not have been surprised if either one of those guys goes and gets there. But Albin did his damn job. He put in the work. He executes. He takes advantage of chances. He made mistakes, but you know what? When he got moments later on, he sealed the deal, and he came out victorious at the end. So, and he got $20,000 on top of that. So, congratulations to him. But we're betting World Pool Masters.
We're betting high.
We ain't letting that one go. Okay, we are not letting that one go. I'm
saving up all of my pennies that I'm not.
I'm calling the Philippines right now. I'm making sure everyone's got their visas ready. Carlo's getting the visas ready. Fedor's getting
fair. Molina's gambling with your money.
I might
bet a lot more than the 40 he says I burned them. Trust me.
I might even volunteer as Eklund's manager just so I can get him into that too.
Yeah. Oh,
just make sure he thumbs up. Yeah.
Oh, a lot of guys had steam at the end. Yap played really well at certain points of that event. There's a lot of guys who went and showed their class as that event turned up. And I agree. The conditions make a big difference. And a guy like Ruiz, who didn't really get any traction the first 2 days and got in the hole, he showed that he can go and compete once he got a little bit comfortable. But there's a lot of guys that have been there before where when they first show up, they come up short or who come up flat. A ton of them, Yep.
But it makes a big difference the first time you're out there, or if you don't have the experience there, Max has been playing awesome pool for the last couple of years, and you saw him struggle with it. You saw him struggle with it, with the speed, with the slide, with everything.
With everything. But the one thing I like about Max is that he still went out there and competed and was a professional.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it before.
He did not give up.
That
table. It didn't matter what damn match it was. That was one thing about Max you can't take away. He was out there and he was a professional pool player for however many days he was out there.
Yeah, he played for every point. But I've said before, that matchroom table, that table under those lights, and it has made very, very good players look very, very average, and it'll continue to do so.
But that's part of the beauty of it. That's why I love it, though, because I don't want them to make it look. I don't want them to make it look like they're playing on a valley table.
Nope. That's why I love it. And you've got to be the full package. You've got to be able to make balls. You've got to be able to handle it.
I mean, they were
got against valley pool tables.
They were the couple of balls that Albin went and pooped in the hole, whatever. I'm trying not to go and cuss because Nate gets after me every time. But when he goes and puts a ball in the hole accidentally or banks it, I mean, there was just the event had everything because there's so much pool. It had everything, comebacks. I mean,
Brilliant.
You name it. Amazing shots. I mean, there was so many moments, and I think Matchroom did a great job of highlighting a lot of those shots. So shout out to their Facebook team. Yeah, for sure. Because as soon as there was great moments that went and happened, they went and made sure social media knew about it. That part I absolutely love. You know, it kept people excited about it. I better go watch this next match because you don't know what you're going to go and miss. You know, when Shane comes back, even though he lost Hill to Albin, you don't know what it can go and happen. You don't, because it's 9-ball and it's goofy and it's lucky and anything goes, right? And one or two mistakes can go and change everything. And it had everything. It really did.
It was a great event, brilliant event. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Man, I can't wait till the match. I'm gonna bust you up, Jim. I just can't wait. I cannot wait for the matches.
Jim, all I'm saying right now is
shall we just go there, Mike? I'll meet you there and we'll bet tableside. That's good.
Maybe.
Jim,
that might be
an idea.
Jim, I need you to buy as much baby formula as you possibly can in the next couple months because I don't want to be the reason your baby starves. So make sure that you have a steady supply of food because you're going to have no money for months.
Bet it.
Yeah. I can't wait. They did a really good job, though. I like the extended races at the end. I like having at least be to 7. I'm glad they didn't keep it to 5 towards the last 2 rounds. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
No, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, let's cover quick.
Paid as well, you know.
Yeah, I always like it when Mike gets torched on Facebook. Should we just show that up for everybody to see?
Evidently, I don't pay my bets, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, let's throw it up.
Yeah,
he's a nit.
Chump.
Molina Mike is a nit.
Yeah, the guy goes and hits me up when it's 2-0 filler and says, "I'll take filler." After he's up 2-0, and then I says, "I'm good. I already took filler," and he says, "Okay, I'll take Albin +1." So you want Albin with weight or you want filler even? I said, "Okay, buddy. I'll see you later." And evidently, he thinks we bet, and we didn't. But I paid him off what I owed him. He says I burned him $40. Don't come looking for a bet with me because evidently I'm bad action around here. So, but Jim, you got all the play you want, big boy.
Don't bet with me because I'm bad action. But Jim,
but Jim, hey, how's it going, Jim?
Yeah, you can all you want. It's all right. You already owe me dinner in Vegas.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm gonna end up owning the restaurant when I'm done with you with these bets we're making, buddy. Trust me.
Jim's gonna be owing. We're gonna own Vegas. We're just gonna own the strip off of you.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
Sure.
All right,
for sure.
Let's cover a little bit of the Texas Open because believe it or not, there was other events in the world that were happening. It's kind of a surprise, but it happened. Let's start with the ladies because I wanted to start with the ladies because I like highlighting ladies pool. Mary Tom, how awesome is that performance? She gets the full win over April Larson, who only lost to Mary. So that's a pretty impressive event for both of them. Chris Fields, Jenna Bischoff, and Melissa Rushton, and Tom Treek. They are your 5 through 6. So pretty cool stuff there. Were you at this, Mike?
I did not go this year. It was the first time in years. I didn't make it out to the Open. I usually do, but there was a lot of other stuff going on in pool, so I actually stayed home. So and I enjoyed it, but some of the streaming of it I wasn't too happy with. The internet wasn't too great out there, it seemed like, and especially towards the tail end when I really started watching after the Premier League finished up, the stream was it was unwatchable for a big chunk of important part of it. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Mary. She plays fantastic. I seen her for the first time out in Vegas during BCA. I think it was in September, and I'm watching. I'm watching Scott's doubles. I'm watching who was it? Oh no, I was watching Billy and Filler play by the game, one pocket, even out there at Griff's one night, and P is matching up with Mary, and I'm watching Mary, and I'm looking over, and I see Mary at the table. I look over some more, and Mary's at the table. I look over 10 minutes later, Mary's at the table. Mary plays great pool. She really does. She's got a very high level about her. I think she was probably second pick of the litter in the Calcutta, if I'm not mistaken, because I think April might have gone before her. But, the cream rose to the top there in that event, I think.
Yeah, I would agree there. I think that Mary and April, you could kind of toss a quarter on those. They're both phenomenal players.
Yeah.
I think April's playing a little bit more. I don't think Mary's been playing a ton of pool for the last couple of years, but she's got some insane run out ability. So, and she's on top of that, she's a competitor at everything she does. Like she's like whatever she does, whether it's she's big into fitness, big into lifting, big into pool. I mean, whatever she does, she's very competitive at. So it's it helps.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
yep, let's move over to the men's side of things, and you're gonna have to help me with this, Mike, because I don't know who the winner was. I've never heard of that person ever.
So let me tell you a little story, okay? And it goes back to BCA Vegas a few years back. So I'm there, and my buddy Trujillo from Mexico, he's a Q dealer south of the border, and he says, Mike, I want to bet a match. And I said, Trujillo, whatever you want to do, I got you, buddy. What do you want to do? And he says, I want to take my buddy Gerson. And I'd never heard of Gerson before ever in my life. I said, okay, who's he playing? He's playing Dodong. And I said, buddy, whatever you want to do. What do you need from me? What do I need to accommodate you in order to get some action around here? He says, just give me 2 games. Done deal. 2 games. Gerson wins outright. Okay, sure. Next round, Gerson plays Shane. Mike, you want to run it back? Hell yeah, I want to run it back because he's playing Shane Van Boning. What do you need from me, buddy? He says, Mike, I'll take 2 games. You got it. You got 2 games. He beats Shane outright. I learned that day who the hell Gerson Martinez was. And the very next match after that, he's up on filler, I think like 5-2. Now, mind you, this is pre-COVID, but this is like when James is at the height of being a great 10-ball player. This is when Shane is, I mean, he still is a great player. This is when filler is becoming filler, right? The man, the myth, the legend. And Gerson was up on filler the very next round. The guy can play 10-ball. He's got horrible mechanics, but he's got a really big break, and he's very exciting to go and watch. I was beyond thrilled to go and see him win this event. I know it may have been technically a little bit softer because a lot of those big boys were across the pond, but I'm real happy for Gerson. He plays some great, exciting style of pool.
Well, he beat Mora in the final, so he can play, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mora's played well recently. Yeah.
He is playing
beat
well.
Alex.
Yeah.
Beat Alex Pagulayan. He beat Mickey Krause. He beat John Mora. He beat Chris Reinhold. He beat Leven Corteza. He beat Sergio Rivas. Have you ever heard of any of those players? I mean,
that's not exactly walkovers that he's had to get there, is it? Really?
Yeah.
These guys can all play.
Sergio Rivas is a 750-ish Fargo. Leven is like an 810. Chris 760. Mickey Krause has got to be in the 780s. John Mora is right around 800. Maybe a little bit less than that, but right around there. Alex Pagulayan is right around 800. I mean,
Gerson is he runs around with Tevez and Manny Chow, but a lot of people just don't know him because he really hasn't had one of these breakout wins until now. But if you ever see his name on any kind of list for a tournament, watch the match because it's going to be great, and he can go and compete with anybody in 10-ball, and I mean anybody in 10-ball, especially in a tournament. Now, gambling-wise, he may not be that seasoned, compared to some of these other guys, but I mean, look at that. Look at those names he's got on his belt. Moore's been playing, like I said, as great as anybody. So to go and have to, and he lost the first set to Moore. So to go and withstand that, and it was a pretty decent amount. I think it was 10,000 for first, and then the Calcutta was like 18 grand or something. So that was a pretty good chunk of change on the line.
How old is he?
Oh, Gerson's probably like in his mid-20s, probably, I guess. I don't know. But he's really humble, a really nice kid. Every time I see him, I always remind him of the same story. But I learned my lesson then. Don't give Gerson weight, or if you do, be the one to take the weight and take the kid because he can go and get there. He's a
772 Fargo.
Yeah, that nobody's ever heard.
Pretty good. from Peru.
Yeah.
He's probably he's got to be he might be the best player in South America. Him or Jesus is the best player in South America.
Yeah, I think Jesus has probably been playing more. I'd love if I've seen him match up in. He is. Jesus is smooth. I don't know if they're matching up playing a big set of 10-ball. Jesus is going to be the favorite for sure. I don't know, but it's close. I think if you ask Gerson, he'll say he probably needs the 8-ball, but he may.
Maybe
I don't
before
think,
this.
I don't think they'd match up though because they're both Latin American players. So it's kind of like seeing Filipino players match up. They just don't do it. So
Molina's just killed the kid's action for the next.
I don't
I learned the
know
hard way.
Peru.
I learned the hard way, man, betting against the kid, and that's how I found out how great he was. And after he beat James, I was like, I gotta go watch this kid play when he plays Shane. Like, I want to see because I didn't get to see what happened before. Like, I want to go see what happened, and I just saw him rack after rack. He's got a really big break, you know. But if you watch him go and stroke, it's really like, look out, because he's doing this number like a la Dennis Grabe, you know, like he's swinging. I mean, it's the wildest thing. The kid's got horrible mechanics, but he can get there, and he got there.
I guess that's the part that matters, right? Well,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to the Texas Open, of course, because the Texas Open is, I guess, the longest running pool event in the world at this point. I feel like, if I'm not mistaken,
the 9-ball is, yeah.
Yeah. So I figure we give a shout out to that, and of course, it's it's still probably a top 5 American event, I suppose, right? By the end of the if you count up everything, you got international, you got the U.S. Open, you got Derby City, and past that, I mean, is there anything bigger than the Texas Open?
I'd have to think about it, but I know it's close. Yeah, I mean, it's getting better every year. I'll say that. We were very fortunate last year to have a great number of guys, world-class players, go and attend the Texas Open, and they also had a one-pocket event alongside with that. So it was like, I mean, it was so deep on the rotation side and the one-pocket side. But this one was just as good. Like I said, it's just the big boys were away. But I think had there not been, anything match from going on, a lot of those guys would have been there. And it would have been just that much better of a field, but it already was pretty spectacular. A bunch of really names who I thought would have been there at the end, like Levan. I know he got 4th, but like I thought he was, he had pretty good chances. Jesus was another one. He's got a big break, and the kid plays great. I thought he was going to go and get there. Chris looked great for a while. I mean, it was pretty wide open. But John at the end caught a really, really high gear. He beat Levan and Alex to go and get into the finals. So,
yep. Well, I guess that's pretty much everything on the radar, unless there's anything either of you two guys want to promote.
Negative, buddy.
No, just waiting for the next event, I guess. We got a Euro Tour coming up. I'll be watching that and giving you guys updates if you're on what's happening with the Euro Tour in Laxo. I'm
waiting for every single event now after today. I mean, every event I'm looking forward to after today, Jim.
You're gonna blow up my messenger, are you?
Yeah. Every time. Every
single match. Every match that's involving Jay or Albin or Shane, you'll be blowing up my messenger, right? I got the other guy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about all that. I don't know. I'm not gonna be betting by the match against those monsters. But I'll take the field in the overall. I like my chances.
I'll double it.
I want to hear the world, the Masters field. I might give you the field minus Federer. Federer is a draw.
No. It don't matter because you're stealing. No,
there's a split.
It don't matter. You're stealing. You according
Jim,
to
you're giving away money.
You got the dead stone cold nuts. Yeah, you don't
giving away money.
You ought to be laying weight to me on the money. Y'all, that's how much you're stealing. Because according to Jim Telfer, those guys are worlds above the rest of the field.
Please, when we're finished here, look it back and actually listen to what I said.
We heard you, Jim. We were here.
We heard you loud and clear.
We don't care. Jim, we're just going to make some shit up.
I'm going to crop it out and just post it on my Facebook page. Just that one clip.
Just go ahead and make up some shit and put it on Facebook. It's fine.
Yeah. Hey,
loud and clear, buddy.
It's been a trend of the day, Jim. It's been a trend of the day.
I already know that even if I win, you're not going to pay anyway. I mean,
this mother.
Ask Stephen Fair.
Yeah. You guys got action whenever you want. No, not Fair because he's been blocked. But Jim, you're on deck where Stephen was at yesterday, buddy.
I'm up here.
Yeah. You're close, buddy. Yeah, you're next up at bat, my man.
Okay, take it. Showing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got some stuff I want to promote still. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but go vote for Rob Hovick right here. Wisconsin Billiards Hall of Fame, WIBHOF.org. We are going to get this old grumpy man into the Wisconsin Billiards Hall of Fame, and we need your help to do it. If you've appreciated having Rob at any point in time on this show, get over there and vote for him. It's going to cost you $10, but we will send you a free t-shirt to do it. All you got to do is go to WIBHOF.org, sign up. I think you got to log out and then log back in under the account you just created, and then you'll be able to vote for the guy, and you can vote for him, and it'll be great. You'll get a t-shirt, and we're going to get that old grumpy man into the Hall of Fame. And then we get to get super hammered at his inductions ceremony, and I can live stream him crying up on stage on the podcast page, and it'll be glorious. We just don't want to miss out on this. So spend your moldy $10 over at that website and get signed up and vote for Rob and make me happy.
Let's do it.
Talking right to you, Jim.
I've done it already.
You voted for him?
Yeah.
You lying to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're lying to me. Yeah.
I'll go vote.
Yeah, I'll vote for him. I just don't need to do it now. Who are you, my boss?
Well, you only have a week. So, Jim, if you don't do it now, you'll never do it.
You better do it now because you ain't going to have no money after the Masters. I can promise you that.
That's exactly right.
Okay, you better go while you got $10 in that account, buddy.
That's exactly right, Jim.
I'm so going to enjoy that moment.
Could you imagine, like, the show is done. The show is absolutely canceled if those four players are in the semifinals of the Masters.
You imagine the happy I'm going to be doing if that's the semifinal line. Be like,
no, the show will be done. No, we're done. We'll cancel it. I will delete the page. I will delete the Instagram, the YouTube. Everything will be gone.
You see how quick he turns, though, man? I mean, Federer just won like 5 events or 4 events out in Derby City, and then all of a sudden, 30 days later, Jim's over there changing his tune. He's stealing. He's stealing with those 4 guys.
He wasn't even in the Premier League pool. I never mentioned Federer.
He's gonna be there in the Masters, and it don't matter because you got your 4 horses. You got your 4 horses, and I'll take the rest of them. Okay. And I'm ready. On that note, we'll see y'all next week.
Perfect. Go vote for Rob.